In a tough market and election year, it's easy to get distracted with why things are so difficult. And if you know me or have watched enough of my videos, you know I'd rather look in the mirror than point fingers so I can figure out what I can do better as a husband, as a dad, as a man, and as a business owner. So, how can you win in business? I'm going to cover kind of both sides of it, winning and losing. And I think one of the things that makes it really important is, when it comes to winning, you know, um, I would say that sacrificing now for future success, right? Some would call it delayed gratification. And that's really important in terms of really not caring what anybody else thinks, right? Number one, this is the number one reason that business can win, because it can mean you can be doing some work for free or deciding to charge later. For example, this weekend I worked on a real estate development transaction with a client who's super smart. She has the money that she needs. She's committed a significant amount of her own money, but she has no experience with actually building, putting sticks in the ground, dealing with a contractor, or the financial modeling part when it comes to pitching this to potential investors and the jargon that comes with development. But she has a really good deal, and I've already assembled the check writers in my mind, like who could help take this deal down, so she can actually get those sticks in the ground and start building. And so, I get hired to put together financial models, and I easily charge a nice fee for my time. But I chose to spend my weekend, I spent my Saturday putting together a very advanced and detailed model. It's probably overkill, but I know that the check writers will appreciate it even if she doesn't. She might even get overwhelmed, like, goodness gracious, all these numbers and percentage signs and etc. But I know that I'm removing that obstacle for free in hopes that it will result in a nice payday in the next couple of months here, because this is pretty much ready to rock and roll. And so that's how you can win in terms of sacrificing now for that future success. And I think the next is some people call different things. Some call it values. You might call it philosophy, and others may call it culture. And being client-centric is really important. And I've always been impressed. My kids, my family, they love Chick-fil-A, for example. And I'm always the one that gets suckered into stopping, if we hadn't made dinner or something, and it's about that time to stop at the drive-thru, or if we're traveling. And it's just very impressive to see how high quality the service is. But if you know the background, they actually hired the co-founder, a gentleman named Horst Schulze, who was the co-founder of the Ritz-Carlton. And if you look at, they made a significant dollar investment to make sure that quality attracted quality, because if you're doing that, you're going to find great leaders. And when you're a leader, what don't you do? You don't make excuses. You help others get what they want so that you can get what you want. And that's how you create excellence. And if you've ever read the New Testament, one of my favorite verses is Philippians 4:8, where it says, "Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, you got to think about these things, And so that's how I believe that, when you look at winning and you're sacrificing the now for the future of your success, and you're looking at your value system or your philosophy or your culture, whatever you want to call it, you're winning. And the next thing I would think is luck. Now, luck is not subjective. I think that there's a saying that I don't always agree with. They're like, the more you try, the more luck you have. For me, I think about persistence. a lot of my business has to do with building relationships and talking to lots of people and understanding what's going on in my market. And so many people walk away after the second or third try. And even when I'm calling that person for the 5th, 6th, 7th, 10th time, you begin to understand why you win. I have been calling on, there are people that I've been calling on for a decade that I have not done a business deal yet with, but we continue to talk to each other, and it's just either timing or preference or whatever. But I know that person, I know what they want, and so eventually I know that somewhere down the road and the things that I'm working on, we will end up doing a deal. So this luck is about persistence and about understanding what your destination is, right? So I think this is kind of a real important part of it, is if you know your destination, what's going to make you happy? You know, are you really trying to find the Lamborghini, or are you trying to make sure that you show up for your kid's baseball game on a Wednesday afternoon or evening? And I think that's kind of where you begin to create that luck in terms of understanding where you're headed. You know, I gave up my fancy office in downtown Los Angeles almost 15, 16 years ago, because when I met my wife and we were dating and she happened to have kids of her own, I knew that I wanted to be there. I wanted to make sure that I took those kids to school. I wanted to be there to pick them up. I wanted to be there at the dance studio, at the baseball game, at the soccer game, whatever it was, I wanted to be there. And so I knew that destination for me was, I no longer wanted to drive from the San Fernando Valley into downtown, losing 3 hours of my day sitting in a vehicle. And so that is part of the winning. So if you're sacrificing the now for your future success, if you understand your values and you know your destination in terms of figuring out that luck and being persistent, this is winning. Now let's think about let me put a new page here. What about failure? Now, I don't know about you, but you know, sometimes I think failure gets a bad rap because I believe that you haven't failed if you haven't given up. And success is bouncing back from that loss, right? And so here are some tips when things don't go the way you hope. You know, the first thing that I've learned, and if you're in business development, if you've been a business owner, you know that you can't take it personal. If you take it personal, you're not going to make it, right? It isn't about you. I've had people lose their shit on the phone because the deal is taking longer than expected. I've had people call me some really terrible things and pointing to my ethnicity for no good reason whatsoever. And am I going to check them and tell them to watch their tone? Absolutely. And are they going to lose more of their shit on the phone? Probably. But you know what? I know that it's not about me. It's probably, you know, maybe that person is having some marital relationship issues. Maybe they were late on something that has cost them a lot of money. Who knows? There's all kinds of things that you don't know about that's going on the other side. And I think for me, I've learned to put my empathy hat on and think about, okay, there's something going on there for that person to react that way. Or maybe they're just an asshole. I don't know. But I know that I can't take it personally. And so I make it sure that in this type of world, that type of failure is what helps me keep going forward. And so I think the next thing is that you got to make your resources work for you. I'm left-handed, so I hope you're enjoying my handwriting. But you know, I think it's I think about when I was a kid. You know, growing up, I was kind of a mathlete. I played sports. I did very well academically, and it was great to get, you know, A's and B's or whatever. But I appreciated when I failed. And it's funny that those failures that occur in the classroom or in life, those are the stories you get to tell. And I'm going to tell you the helicopter story. The helicopter story is, it was like, I think it was the second grade. And I had a good friend who's still a very close friend today. We've been friends since we were in preschool. And we were doing these math problems where we were just kind of tearing through the math book, just going problem after problem and getting ahead of the book. We probably finished like more than half the book in like in one sitting, right? That was going to be the book for the entire school year. And the helicopter story is, it's one of those logic problems where you think about, okay, you know, there are 14 people stranded on an island. You're driving the helicopter. You can only pick up 4 people at a time. How many trips do you have to make? And so you do the division, right? 14 divided by 4, that's 3.5. And so I'm feverishly writing 3.5 trips, right? And so I got the problem or the answer incorrect, right? Because you can't do a half a trip. You can't take half people. So you had to do 4 trips. And I'm, you know, in my early 50s now, and here I am still telling this story because it's one of those failures that helped me become a more, you know, thoughtful and a person who thinks about situations just that little bit deeper than just taking things for face value. I think the next thing is you got to set your own pace. You know, you decide how things are going to go. I like to get up early, for example. I'm an early bird. And maybe you excel at night when everybody else is asleep. You know, I get up at 5 o'clock, and that's what I call my victory hour. It's my time for getting up, for prayer, for just being by myself, thinking and going through my notes. If it's Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, I'm going to go swim. And if it's Tuesday, Thursday, I'm maybe going for a hike. And the key thing here is to keep going and showing up. You got to learn to love the losses because there's going to be a lot of them, you know? And so I think those are some real basic tips that I hope are helpful, especially in today's market where things are really rough and tumble. And so I wanted to remind you that if you're unaware of our platforms here at Shokunin, we want to remind you what we have available. You know, our core expertise is capital and strategy. Capital for business, whether you need a line of credit or you're buying a business, we have all types of solutions available for you. We also have capital for commercial real estate and residential investment property. And like I mentioned, rough and tumble out there. Every deal is a sack of concrete, I tell everybody, because they're taking twice as long to get to the finish line. And because brokers do it better, we not only have the relationships, but we also understand the capital sources' capacity and their appetite to get things to the finish line. And the right relationships open the door, but expertise like ours and dedication, we keep them open. So when it comes to strategy, our team offers coaching and exit planning services for business owners. I'm on a mission. I really am. I'm on a mission to help business owners avoid burnout by teaching them to command their legacies through systems, not goals. I don't believe in goals. I believe in systems, and you can use financial dashboards to help make yourself good decisions, because I don't believe in work-life balance. When I started this Friday Formula, I did it because I wanted to help people learn how to adjust, you know, and understand that sometimes when you're in the office all day and then you walk into the house, that you have to kind of switch and learn how to turn those things off. But what I'm learning is there is no work-life balance. You just have to match it with the right controls to succeed. And so I'm an exit planning advisor. I'm a certified mediator using curriculum from the State Bar of California. I've been a keynote speaker. I'm a workshop facilitator and a finance specialist. You know, I've had several businesses that I've started over or purchased. I've managed up to 35 employees and operated as a solopreneur. So I know what it's like to feel worthless or ready to give up when that marketing effort creates no revenue, it's just a failure, or deals fall apart after months and months of hard work. And your attitude impacts your relationships with your marriage or your kids. But you know what? I also have plenty of great wins that have allowed me to move to an area that has the resources to care for my son, who is a person with autism. It's allowed me to build the guest house so I could care for my parents with dementia for several years. It's allowed me to buy income property here in the United States and in Mexico. And it's helped me and my wife house single mothers and homeless teens who just needed a helping hand to get them to the next level in their lives. And so those are the things that get me up out of bed every morning. And so I want to share my experiences, my mistakes, so that you can get closer to your personal and financial goals. So that's why I created this platform called Deal Doula. It's to share those insights and help reshape people's lives so they can be truly free. If you're looking for an easy button or a magic pill, this ain't it. It's a call to action. And lastly, I mentioned I'm a certified mediator. No one plans for things to go wrong. Divorce, dispute, death, disability, and distress, those are called the 5 Ds. They often come with significant challenges where you might not have the communication tools or even the patience to find a solution. And court is expensive. Attorneys are great. They're a necessary part of business. But I created Dispute Doctor as another platform within Shokunin as a cost-effective answer for parties ready to move on with their lives or business using mediation. And what I'm learning is that it can stop the unnecessary drama and emotional stress. So if you're fed up with the stress and cost of litigation, if you're struggling with problem employees, challenging vendors, or difficult clients, if you're looking to settle business, family, or divorce disputes discreetly and amicably, Dispute Doctor is just an alternative. It's not only an alternative, it's a better way. It's efficient, it's private, and it puts the control back in your hands. So I just want to get you reacquainted with who we are here at Shokunin. And I hope that you'll tune in next week when I get to making another video. It should be next week. And we're going to discuss business plans versus mind maps and when you should use either. Okay, thank you so much for watching Friday Formula. I appreciate your comments. Please like and subscribe, all that fun stuff. Please share the video, and I'll see you soon. Take care.